and gentlemen. Long time no see. Appreciate the 50 bomb, Limey. I'm here this evening to obviously address an elephant in the room. It's an elephant the size of fucking Godzilla in a tiny little closet, to be honest. So obviously there's been some blood in the streets lately, and it seems like William has a big issue with me, Marks, and Cinemas. Um, we seem seems like we're the three main people that he's focused on. And I'm gonna bring up some community posts. Obviously, I've seen the shit, and I want to address some things, clear up some things, and unblur some lines. Because he's made a lot of assumptions. He's made a lot of comments that are just fucking false, and it's based off his assumptions. And I'm gonna make a few points, and if he responds, that'd be nice. I'd love to talk to the guy and maybe see why the fuck is he doing this, the way he's doing it. But I'll read the community post, and I'm gonna start making my points in between. I really don't have a fucking blueprint plan on how we're gonna go about this, but I'm just gonna freestyle and flow through it, flip through these screenshots and make my points, and then get the fuck out of here. I don't want to do this all fucking night. All right, so to start with, what really was the starting point of all this is William's community post saying, "Imagine being the scumbags in Discord VC who sat and giggled like little girls while they sent people to Bill Chaffin's apartment, a physically and mentally disabled man, to mess with him like they do any other day. Only this time, the person they sent bashed in his head and got him seven or so stitches. Keep in mind that Bill isn't a pedophile or a pedo supporter. He does not deserve this abuse, and it's not amusing at all. Then, not to even have the balls to own up to it, they placed the blame on another person for it like it was a joke to them. We all know it was the idiots in KK who are responsible for this. You know who you are. They are absolutely lower than Cyrax for allowing this to happen, and then just to continue with it, making content out of it, just disgusting subhuman behavior. And this is funny to you? Really? So he doesn't name drop anybody in the post. It's just a picture of Bill with his injury on his head and obviously the stitches. And but if you go to the comments, he's got a comment pinned where the person is blaming me, Marks, and Cinemas. And in every single comment on the fucking post, there's like 700 plus comments. He's signal boosting anybody who's putting the blame on me, putting the blame on Cinemas or Marks. And I find it absolutely crazy because the people that were involved in sending the person over to get um the Craigslist person that ended up with Bill having an injury, they've already told you that it was them. You know that it was them. But for some reason you're still putting the blame on me, Cinemas and Marks, and it feels like you have some sort of agenda that you want to push against us. And look, I understand people taking the moral high ground on something like this, but it doesn't seem too morally correct, and it doesn't seem like it's a genuine moral card that you're trying to swipe if you're just going to put the blame on people that you don't like just simply because you don't like them without any evidence or anything to prove that me, Marks, or Cinemas had any hand to play in any of this. Um, the facts are that I never send Craigslist to Bill's house. The most I do will send a fucking DoorDash order over to Bill's house. And I'm not gonna sit here and go back and forth and play tennis with William over this shit. But I will clear my name and I'll tell the truth and tell you any involvement I have or didn't have. Especially when there's lies and loads of implications about me and two others that are just pure bullshit. So I'll just go ahead and say it. I had no involvement in sending over any Craigslist to Bill's house, and I had no involvement whatsoever in Bill's injury. None. Neither did Cinemas, neither did Marks. Zero, zilch, zip, none. So that's the first screenshot. Then he makes another community post. Let me pull it up. Then he makes this one. And he says, "This is from the now hidden video from 007's Rumble page after Bill was attacked and got stitches. The fine folks and kennel kickers in the Grease Pit Discord servers had Bill smearing manure into his wound and drinking water from his toilet bowl. Just sickening." Link in the comments. Shout out to Adhesive for leaking this video. What's crazy to me is that, again, in the like, he doesn't name drop me, but he mentions it came from my Rumble. A total bullshit lie. It didn't come from my Rumble, and he did later clarify that it didn't come from my Rumble, and he makes this post. He says, "So I need to correct something, just so we are all on the same page here. I stated 007 had the Bill video with the manure. I incorrectly assumed that because 007 had taken down all his videos in a panic, and it made sense that the video came from there. The fact is that it was found as an unlisted video on a throwaway Rumble account, but in the end, where it came from is hardly as important compared to an actual contents of the video. And it doesn't change the fact that it is originated from within kennel kickers and the usual suspects allowing it to happen. And thanks to Kaylee, as she actually names them in her video, pointing out that I had the source wrong. Okay, so you made an assumption, and I got one more screenshot real quick while we're on this topic to bring up and read out. So somebody comments on it and says he gets forced into VCs and 007's Discord servers with the threat of door knocks, typically by some guy who goes by Gary Coleman, who, by the way, is the main antagonist of most of the trolling, but no one seems to bring that up. William responds and says, "Thanks, wasn't sure who was still involved, to be honest." So you're making all these accusations, these implications in the comments. You're signal boosting anybody putting blame on me when in reality, you have no fucking clue. Like, none. You don't have the tiniest fucking clue. You're just putting blame on the people that you don't like. Again, you have a disingenuous agenda. If you wanted to take the moral high ground, you wanted to take the moral route, um then that would be a-okay, whatever. Like, look, I don't agree with the shit that happened, and I'm gonna touch base on that a little bit more as we get through this. But my main point while we're on these posts is that you're making accusations against me, Cinemas, and Marks with nothing to give you the idea that it was me, Cinemas, or Marks. And in the comments, every single person that names me as being the person that is responsible for all this, that enacted in the behavior of getting Bill harmed or playing in manure or playing in his toilet, you're signal boosting every single one of them. And you know what you're doing because every single person thinks it's me that did it. Everybody thinks that I'm the person that sent over the Craigslist person and ended up with Bill with a head injury. And everybody thinks that it's me that told Bill to play in manure. And it's wild to me because you posted the recording of the manure incident and you don't hear my voice, you don't hear Marx's voice, you don't hear Cinema's voice. Everything was recorded. You obviously posted that, you're circulating it, and you're still blaming us three when you know for a fucking fact because it's documented that we had no involvement in the fucking manure. We had no involvement in the fucking Craigslist incident, but you still are willing to run with that just because you have an agenda. You are disingenuous. You're a bad actor, and listen. Objectively, yeah, all of that is bad. Nobody's going to argue against you and say that, yeah, Bill deserved to get his head whacked. Yeah, Bill deserved to play in manure. Bill deserves to drink toilet water. Nobody's arguing that. The point is the blame that you're placing is for your own agenda, and it's disingenuous and it's not righteous. It's just not righteous. Point blank, period. That's really all I have to say about these community posts. And I want to further clear my name, Mark's and Cinema's name, because I'm right and William's wrong. So, look, I'm going to break the fucking fourth wall, okay? Marks wasn't around for any of that. And I left the fucking Kennel Kickers Discord server the moment I was notified about the manure shit. The moment it happened, and I'll pull up a screenshot of the time and date and all that whenever I left. But um, Like I left instantly, and you still want to put the blame on me. So the next morning I get a message from Marks and he says, "Hey, what's good, dude? I left. They did some vile shit. I know it's not you, and I wanted to reach out to you and thank you for not being okay with what the fuck ever has happened last night. They used my name to get this retard to do vile shit. I would never have let it get as far as it did. They streamed it too, so you know adhesive is gonna run with it. I got nothing but love for you and the mods, man, but this shit is beyond fucked. He played with shit for 3 hours. This is just as bad as the Dylan shit. Marks had no involvement. He completely disavowed and left the shit as soon as he heard about it and knew had any knowledge of it. So to put the blame on Marks because you simply don't like Marks is disingenuous and bullshit. Um, it really is like Marks doesn't deserve the blame. He had no involvement in it whatsoever. And again, this happened on the 4th of February. Look at the fucking dates. On February 4th, 2026, the moment it happened, I left. Like I got the fuck out of there because I don't like the shit. I thought it was super sadistic, degenerate, and disgusting. Nobody's going to argue against that and say, nah, that was a good, positive thing that happened. No. Obviously, I don't like the shit. Not even a tiny bit, not even a little bit. And um, I started later on the 4th, later that evening, I started sending some messages out to people that are involved in the Bill content. And I let them know, like, dude, Bill needs to get the fuck off Discord. I think he needs a permanent break. I don't want the guy involved in anything else. Like, that was the most disgusting shit I've seen probably ever outside of the Dylan shit that Mark's mentioned. And I wanted to pull out. Like, I don't have ownership of kennel kickers. If I did, I would just nuke the entire server. But after I left, I reached out to people who said they need to just like ban Bill, make it so he can't join, and push the message that Bill needs to be let go. Don't fucking reach out to him trying to rope him back in. Let him be his independent person and let him just live the rest of his life content with himself. He doesn't need to be involved in this stuff, especially when a line that thick was crossed. So I'm gonna break the fourth wall again, and I'm gonna show one more DM that I sent out on the fourth, later the evening after the incident happened. I reached out to Gary and said, "What do you think about being done with Bill? Last night was the worst shit I've ever seen in a while, to be honest. Not trying to moral fag too hard, but I can't help myself, to be honest. The guy gets his head split open, days later, forced to drink toilet water, drink manure, and rub it in an open wound for hours. Being threatened with door knocks if he doesn't eat manure and drink toilet water and stay in VCs for days on end. Just depraved as fuck, to be honest, and I don't like it. Truly ashamed. Looking at the whole board, this has poor projections for the future. He will end up dead or in jail or badly hurt or infected. I feel like y'all, and I say y'all because this is after I left, y'all should cut the guy loose and move on. I can't continue or I can't control anyone, but I'm reaching out because you're the main Bill person. Just wondering what you think. Gary agrees, says, yeah, fair enough. I've been pretty bored with him, to be honest, and last night was pretty gross. Again, nobody's going to argue against the shit being gross, but I just want to let everybody know that I had no fucking involvement in his head being split open or the manure bullshit. Um, that's really all I have to say about that. I guess next I'll show some DMs that I had with Bill over the past what 5, 6 days maybe. This is the first one. I reached out to him on Facebook after talking to like 8, maybe 10 people, asking them if they would agree to just leave Bill alone for good. And everybody did agree, even the people that are responsible for the manure stuff, they agreed. And I'm not going to justify that shit at all. But I went out my way and tried really, really fucking hard to get Bill a peace of mind, peace and tranquility. Like, I couldn't be more against the bullshit. So I reach out to Bill and I say, they're going to let you loose, bro. Don't worry about the VCs and shit. Truly, you just need to stay off Discord. And if anything, by the way, again, February 4th, on the fucking 4th. Um, You just need to stay off Discord. And if you need anything, hit me up, bro. I will always be here. But you deserve your freedom. And I feel really bad about what you had to go through last night. Do you need anything, bro? Drinks or anything? Let me know if you need anything at all. Anything to clean your stitches with or anything, bro, just let me know. Bill's obviously upset about the stuff. He's an emotional guy. He says, I'm crying, bro. All this stuff has really gotten to me. And I say, I know that's why you're getting your freedom. And I say freedom. I hate to use that type of lingo, but I'm talking to Bill here. He's not a slave, but he deserves to be free. He deserves some peace. He deserves to be left alone. He really needs to get the fuck offline. I said, I talked to everyone. Gary said he is okay with you being let go and no more VCs. Can you do me a favor and delete your Discord account? You deserve your freedom, bro. And then he started sending me some some funny voice messages talking about feet. uh I even let him know, like, look, Marks was even upset they made you do that last night. Delete your Discord and let me know when you do. And I say they because I had no involvement in the fucking manure. Bill says, "Okay, bro." I said, "Thanks, man. Let me know when you do." I wanted to. Bill says, "I wanted to still talk to Bionic and Taco. Taco was my homie. It's just like you too." I say, "Yeah, I think Taco sent or is sending some stuff over to you, some nice things. I'll get Taco to add you on here, and some of the good ones like Joe Mama, so we can stay in touch. But you need to stay off Discord. Truly, it's the best. I don't care what they say about me saying this to you last night. It was way too far, and you don't deserve it." And he says, "You're right, bro." Um, Like, I'm being painted out to be some, like, evil terrorist that's abusing a mentally handicapped, physically handicapped man. I I don't see anything, and I haven't seen anything even from William with his piss poor receipts that show me having any involvement in the bullshit. None. Moving on to let's see what this one is. And then Bill asked me to send him some cokes and says that some chicken would be appreciated. Tell him that I'll send it over. Um, doesn't really mean too much, but I don't want to miss everything. And then on the 7th and all throughout, ever since the 4th, I'm checking in with him on a daily basis, making sure he's being left alone and then seeing how he's doing. And because I still do feel bad for the guy about what happened. And so on the 7th, I say, "Hope you're doing okay. Hit me up when you're up." He says, "I'm up, bro." I said, "You doing all right, man? Just checking on you." He says, "Yeah, bro." I said, "Good. Nobody has caused you any trouble?" He says, "No." I say, "Good, dude. I'm so glad. You want to call soon if you're free?" Bill says, "Sure, bro." I say, "Okay, cool. I'm about to get a drink. Really glad to hear you have been left alone." And I genuinely am glad that he's been left alone. When a line's crossed as bad as it was crossed that night on the 4th, you have to completely let the guy go. Like, he doesn't deserve to be trolled anymore. Bill's not a pedophile, and, like, I'm going against people that I used to hang around a lot. But yeah, William back in the day, he did bring up something on Bill, alluding to Bill being a pedophile. And I don't remember exactly who it was. It might have been me, Zycros, other people, but it ended up being confirmed that Bill didn't do anything pedophilic. It was just something that looked bad, but I can't come out and call Bill a pedophile, and I don't think he's truly a bad guy. Just because, and especially after a guy calls somebody from Craigslist a nigger and gets hit in the head with his door, I think he shouldn't be fucking tortured after that, or even theoretically tortured. And that's why I've gone so hard to try to separate Bill from the mob, from the masses, from the hive. Let him have his peace. When a certain line is crossed, he deserves his peace. The line should have never been crossed, obviously. And I will say this, I feel a little guilty about not stepping in and completely trying to convince him to get the fuck out, going to all these people and seeing how they felt about just cutting Bill loose for good. Like, let's just find something else to get into. After the fucking head injury, listen, I do feel bad about that. I should have spoken up. I definitely told people not to do A, B, C, or D, but I should have completely cold turkey cut him out the picture or just left the Discord altogether. I should have just fucking folded up the chair back then. Uh, but the manure stuff was definitely the line in the sand that I don't want to see crossed, and I pulled the fuck out instantly. So really, that's all I got. I just wanted to address a few posts that William made, a few of the accusations and implications that have been made by William because of the message that he's putting out there. And hopefully he corrects it. And if not, whatever. I understand how the game goes as part of rolling the dice, but I I can't help but to see it being a disingenuous moral fag move with an agenda at the end of it when you're purposefully and specifically putting blame on three people that had zero involvement in the manure in his head injury just just seems super disingenuous. And if you really are trying to trying to lead with your heart, I just think being disingenuous with an agenda is the bad move. Obviously, it's working out for you because your campaign's going strong, but you know deep down inside what you're doing, and it's not righteous at all. Especially to blame Marks like you have a recording of the incident. Why the fuck are you blaming the innocent people and that aren't even involved? Like why don't you even make an attempt to call out the people that were involved that you have recordings of? It just makes no sense to go after me, Cinemas and Marks. It's for an agenda. It's for your own personal benefit. It's for your own personal gain. You're opportunistic, and I just I find it just as disgusting as the manure incident itself. It's bullshit. Like, no pun intended. But yeah, I don't like I said, I'm not gonna stay up here all fucking night. I really don't have all that much to go over other than those posts and a few DMs with Bill and some DMs with the people I reached out to. I guess we'll see what William responds with. Maybe William will be righteous for once and correct his mistakes. That's all I really expect. But if he doesn't, then fair enough. Keep playing the game the way you want to play it. But yeah, I don't have any interest in having some all out war with the guy. But come on, if you're going to play the moral fag game, then you should be completely in tune with your morality instead of trying to push an agenda. I've said that word so many fucking times, it's making me sick, but that's what it is. You're moving with an agenda. Two things can be right at the same time. The manure and the head injury incident, that can be disgusting, but you could also be phrasing your statements and your post and naming and blaming people for your own personal benefit and your own agenda as well as your friend's agenda. And you know who I'm talking about, Bumpy Johnson herself. Eh, you know what you're doing. You're trying to help out blame Katie, get some retribution for your friends. And listen, if this is how you want to go about it, then fair enough. But I'm not going to take responsibility and I'm not going to concede to something. Um, I'm not going to take the blame for an act that I had no involvement in. I'm not going to take the blame for something that happened to somebody that I had no hand in playing in. Like, it's just not going to happen. That's retarded as fuck. Like if somebody sends Cyrax a fucking Xbox and he's happier than ever, William's not going to take the blame for it just because he's the face of the Cyrax community. I'm not going to take the blame for Bill's injury or the manure incident just because I'm the quote unquote face of the Bill community. It's just not going to happen. Nobody does that, and neither am I. So that's really all I got. I really like this shit has put such a fucking piss poor taste in my mouth, a bitter taste in my mouth that I do want to take a break, but we'll see how he responds. I'll see if he makes any retractments, if he corrects any of his mistakes. We'll just see how it goes. But that's really all I got. I'll end it off on a Bill classic. This is my favorite Bill song outside of his regular classic hit.